so that we may understand and follow your will with vision and passion and faithfulness. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Before introducing Leadaway, I also want to say thank you to a few people and say a couple words about Calvin and the School of Business. First, I want to thank the great team here at the Prince Conference Center for everything they do to host an event like this. Let's give them a round of applause. Second, I want to thank the team here at Calvin that organized this whole thing and makes it run so smoothly. They include Bob Ames and Kristen Groom, Jeff Haverdink, Ann Gertner, and Elena Gill. Let's give them a big round of applause. And finally, I want to thank all of you here in the room. Thank you for coming to the event, and thank you for all you do to support our students and to support Calvin University. Without you, we could not do what we do. So give a round of applause to the people around you in this room. And now a word about Calvin University and the School of Business. As you may have heard, across the country, higher education is facing stiff headwinds. Dozens of colleges and universities have gone bankrupt and closed their doors over the last couple of years, and those that haven't are experiencing flat enrollment or declines in enrollment. But that's not the case at Calvin University. By the grace of God, over the last couple of years, our enrollments are growing, and just this fall, U.S. News and World Report ranked Calvin as the #1 best in undergraduate teaching among Midwest universities, #2 most innovative schools, and #4 best overall. So we have much to be thankful for here at Calvin. Like the Calvin University overall, the School of Business continues to be in growth mode. Over the last 3 years, our enrollments have grown 51%. You can see on the chart that during the COVID years, we took a bit of a dip, but this fall we had the largest incoming class ever, and we have now far surpassed pre-COVID enrollments in the School of Business. We're currently at 762 students with a goal of 1,000 students in the School of Business by 2028. Again, we have so much to be thankful for. And of course, there are a number of reasons why we may be experiencing that growth, but I believe that one of them is because of our many innovative programs. We now have 8 undergraduate majors, 6 minors and certificates, and 2 master's programs. And I want to tell you about one of those master's programs this morning. It is our new redesigned MBA program. And the reason I want to tell you about it is I want you to enroll in this program because it is an amazing program. And if you don't enroll, please be our ambassadors and our recruiters and go out and tell all your best friends and colleagues about it so that they enroll. There is a bookmark on your table that tells you a little bit more about the program, but I just want to highlight 3 things. We went out and did a bunch of market research and talked to a bunch of folks in the business community who might be interested in an MBA, and here's what we learned. They wanted a program that is focused on leadership and innovation, but backed up by strong skill building in financial acumen and use of technology. We built that into the curriculum. They also said they wanted a hybrid program so that they could do some stuff online, but also have face-to-face opportunities so that it could fit well into their schedule, but also have that opportunity for networking, interaction with faculty, and building community. So we built that into the program. And third, they said, we want it to be taught by the best faculty you have at Calvin, whether they're full-time or adjuncts. We want the best faculty, and that's what we built into the program as well. So there is, and take a look at that bookmark, but also these folks are here. Leonard Van Drunen, who is the director of the program. Leonard, can you wave your hand? Robin Waite, who is the Graduate Studies Admissions Manager. Robin, raise your hand. Rachel Hammond, who is the chair of the Management Department. Rachel. And Kyle Small, who is our Dean of Graduate Studies in the back there. So talk to any one of them about the program after the event. Robin and Leonard are going to be out at a high-top table out there with more information, and they would love to talk to you. And now, the main event. Let me introduce our speaker, Dr. Liedewee van der Sluis. Liedewee is a professor of strategic leadership and talent and a fellow in the Center for Strategy, Organization, and Leadership at Nyenrode Business School in the Netherlands. She holds a BS and MS in business economics from the University of Amsterdam and a PhD in economics and econometrics from Erasmus University in Rotterdam. And man, does Liedewee have a long list of accomplishments. She's written 13 books, 4 of them in English, 40 peer-reviewed journals, 20 of them in English, and 174 articles for practitioners, not to mention delivering numerous conference papers, keynote presentations, and invited talks. She has also served as a consultant to companies such as KLM, Nestle, GSK, McDonald's, Dell, Deloitte, to government agencies such as the Dutch Ministry of the Interior, and to universities such as the University of Amsterdam and Erasmus Medical Center. And she has over 30 years of experience teaching at the undergraduate, master's, and doctoral levels. In the last 15 years, she's really dedicated her teaching to executive education, creating and delivering high-quality executive education experiences for programs in the Netherlands, Europe, and South Africa. So you may be wondering, what is Liedewee doing here in Grand Rapids? The answer to that question is that she is serving this year with us at Calvin in the William Spoolhoff Chair, which was established in 1994 by Stanley and Harriet Van Recken to honor Dr. William Spoolhoff, who was the president of Calvin from 1957 to 1971. And the purpose of the chair is to support Dr. Spoolhoff's goal of bringing to Calvin, on a rotating basis, gifted teachers and scholars to enrich the academic community here at Calvin. And Liedewee is indeed enriching the academic community at Calvin in powerful ways. Over the course of this year, she is serving as a guest lecturer in a number of courses. She will be leading an executive education program in the spring, and she is working extensively with a group of us across the university to explore the possibility of launching a center or hub for executive education here at Calvin University next year and going forward. So we are delighted to have Liedewee here with us on a visiting basis this year, and please give a very warm welcome as she comes to talk to us about the future of leadership. Liedewee?
Thank you so much. What a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your kind words, Jim. And it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm feeling humble based on all these kind words and to be here. And I know it depends on God that I have the health and the opportunity to travel and to be here. So I'm here also very graceful to be who I am by the gifts of God that I have received. We are going to talk about leadership. Leadership is a big thing, not only in business schools, but also all around the world, in societies, in organizations, and in the lives of people, in families and friends, communities. So it's a big thing, and during this talk I would like to discuss with you what leadership is in organizations, especially when we make it very small. So what are we going to do is, I will start with the basics of leadership. To clarify what we are doing here in the business school, but also within Calvin and MBA programs in executive education. So what is leadership all about? We can talk about leadership in relation to society, then we can talk about leaders in our countries, in our communities. That's not what we are going to do in this session, but leadership can also be related to leadership in organizations and in teams of organizations. And that's what we are going to do in this session, this breakfast session together. This session will also not be about leadership, about people's lives. So you can lead your life, you can lead yourself, you can lead your family. This session will not be around that topic. So we're going to focus on the middle level of leadership, and that's about leading organizations. The definition of leaders in organization and also of leadership in organization is filling the space. That's the definition of leadership. Filling the space by who you are, what you have to bring, what you want to be in that space. And that space in this session, so talking about leadership in organizations, is an organization with people that are bringing the best of themselves to that organization in exchange for money, but also in exchange for the energy they have to bring, and in exchange for the experience that they expect from the organization. So filling the space in an organization is the most important definition of leadership. So then the question is, what do you have to do as a leader to fill that space? What are you going to do there as a human being? Maybe as an educated MBA student or a graduate from Calvin, or maybe an entrepreneur, whatever you are as a leader, you have to fill that space. Why? Because leaders bring the weather to the organization. Leaders matter. They can make or break people, and they can make and break teams. So of course leadership is about making the organization a space where people can flourish, where can they be the best version of themselves, where they are respected for who they are and what they know, and also how they can make each other better every day, every year. So if you will understand, based on this definition, leadership is about making choices. Who do I want to be in that space that is opened for me to be the leader in a way that I can be, but also in a way that I want to be? That's leadership in organizations. So it's difficult. It relates to choices, also ethics. Leadership nowadays is very ethical. You have to think of questions that relate to ethical questions like, how do I see myself? How do I see others? And if I see others, what do I see? Do I see the strength of them? Or do I see maybe the disabilities they have? Or what do I see if I look at people? So leadership is making choices about who you want to be and how you want to see the world, but especially how you want to see your colleagues that are giving the best of them to the organization. That means that leadership relates to the thoughts that people should have about, what do I give back to people that are my colleagues in relation to what they give back to the organization? Namely, leading your colleagues means leading people that are giving the best of themselves to the organization, namely their time. That's the exchange. So leadership means you have to make that time matter, because that time of people is given by God to people, and that's what they give to organizations. That's work, that are work relations. So work relations are based on the idea we have time to share with each other, and we made the choice, all of us that are working together in the organization, to make this time the best time we can make of it in order to contribute to the benefits of the organization. So the bottom line of leadership then is we are going to give the best of ourselves to the organization, and what can we do for the organization and not the other way around. Many people make the mistake when they are talking about leadership or being a leader in an organization, thinking about, okay, what can be the organization for me? How can the organization help me to thrive and flourish and to make another career step? But that's not leadership. Leadership is thinking about the question, what can we as a team, as colleagues, as network in the organization, give to the organization in order to make this happen in the organization, to bring the organization to the future, together, better every day. That means that leadership is about capturing the full potential of individuals, but also the full potential of teams. In relation to HRM, Human Resource Management, we call that capturing the full potential of human capital on the one hand, and capturing the full potential of the social capital on the other hand. The social capital relates to culture, to the secret sauce in an organization. So what's in the air of the organization? Leadership is also about managing that air. That's the weather that I was talking about. So I would like to give you the opportunity to share some thoughts on the table that you are sitting together with your neighbor about the question, what do you need in an organization in terms of that air in the organization, so the weather or the space that you're in an organization. What do you need in order to be captured the full potential of yourself? So what should be there in that space for you in terms of what the organization can capture for you the most as possible? What should there be for you? I will give you 2 minutes to listen to the answer to your neighbor, and the other 2 minutes are meant for the 2 minutes that you are going to share your thoughts with your neighbor. So it's 2 ways, 4 minutes in total, 2 minutes per person. Okay? Please go ahead.
Respect for the
Okay, 1 minute. Oh, very good. Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, thank you so much. I think it will be very interesting to hear from each other what the answers were, so how that space should be filled for you in order to be captured the full potential of you. Who can be given the microphone to share some insights? Who want to share something? So this is the interactive part. So after that I will do the keynote again, but this is the interactive part. Any insights to be shared? Okay, Jeremiah.
All right.
Cold calling, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Voluntold here.
Okay, what should
No,
be
I
in
was,
the
I talked a little bit about, being a leader, having a team to lead. So
Yep.
a big part, I'm at Plant Moran public accounting firm. So a big part is attracting people in and then keeping people there as well to, have a team to lead and to do the work.
Yep.
So we talked a little bit about how do you, getting people in is one thing, that's the recruiting side. But then more importantly, how do we keep people engaged and give them opportunities and kind of cast a vision for them to see in themselves?
Thank you very much. So you need other people to be a leader. That's a very important insight. You cannot be a leader on your own. So leadership is always functional because you have to do something. You have to act upon your leadership position or role. But next to that, you also need other persons, other people to be a leader. So leadership is not only functional, but it's also relational. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hi.
One thing that we were talking about back here, also related to the relational nature, and part of the secret sauce is the psychological safety, the trust, and also meaning and purpose, and how that provides an opportunity when given of so much greater direction that people can take, and then also the ownership that they can take within the company. So we said that's part of the secret sauce too.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So that you are respected and that you are given the freedom. Thank you. Other ideas to share? You're still talking, so maybe that's interesting also to hear from. This is a very interesting conversation, I think. Yeah, yeah, sorry, yeah.
John
Let's
and I
hear.
were just talking. I took on a leadership role in the local government, elected recently as supervisor of a township. And I have a collection of colleagues I don't know well, but John's advice is to get to know them and have to develop a high level of trust to accomplish goals in a public setting, which is a bit different than a private setting where you can be a bit more collaborative and work more behind the scenes. In this case, a public setting is all public all the time.
Yeah, thank you. So the trust is a very important point. Yeah, I think it also relates to the other remark. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Any other last? Final one.
I had mentioned that that many leaders start out with a goal and they come up with a strategy to reach that goal for the team without really considering first what the unique skill sets their team has to offer.
Yeah.
And part of leadership is, you had mentioned capturing the full potential and really sitting there. I think athletic coaches have to do that each year. They look at what they're given, they see what each individual has to offer and how they can best work that group together.
Yeah.
And realizing that full potential that each individual and the team as a whole has to offer is critical in developing a strategy.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so you need people to achieve your strategy. Yeah. To follow the path. Yeah. And to see people in order to capture the full potential of the people. Thank you so much. Yeah? Any other? That's really important in addition to this, or shall I continue? I think we can leave it here. Thank you so much, Bob. Going back to the business part and the business perspective on leadership, Leadership is also about money, because if you are leading people, people that you are leading cost a lot of money. So that's the price of the talent in your organization. Leadership is making that price work for the organization in terms of that you pay for the price, you pay for the people, but you gain the value of the people. So the price is what you pay and the value is what you get. Also in leadership. So leadership means you have to know the price of the people in your team, but next to that you also have to know what do I want to gain in terms of the value that I want to get from the people in our organization. And the value is also very critical to understand for yourself, because what do you value as a leader? Do you value that they show up every day? Do you value that they collaborate every day with teams and within teams? Do you value that they do the work at home? So what do you value? So here again, you see the ethical dimension of leadership. And we are going to take a little deep dive in that question. So how can you understand what you value as a leader in your company? So how can you make the best of that price of the people in terms of the value you can get from the people? And that relates to this. Leadership is making it work, filling the space in an organization, not only that people do their work that are signing for and that they promise to do. So that's the functional part of work. That's what you see on the right-hand side, the deliverable. That's the operational side of leadership. Managing results, managing the work people do, managing the individual part of work. Very classical. Leadership nowadays is not about that anymore. Leadership in organizations nowadays is about trying to understand what people do and exactly, especially why people do what they do. Because we already talked about the meaning of work. For the next generation and the future of leadership, the meaning of work is a really important dimension of organizations. Because people should understand, why do I work for this organization? Why do I work in this team? Why do I work in this organization? So it should be clear what the why is behind the what of work. And in this picture you see that line of thinking, and the line goes from doing the work in terms of deliverables, and the why relates to, okay, why do I do this work? That's because there is a dream behind the deliverables. There is a meaning behind the deliverables. For leaders, this picture, this model, this is a conceptual model derived from scientific insights. For leaders, it is a very important question to reflect on the question, what do I see when I see my colleagues working in or for this organization? Do I see their deliverables, or do I see the passion behind their deliverables? And passion relates to dreams and to the meaning of the work people do. What you see here is there is a 3-step model. It goes from dream to dance and to deliverables. The future of leadership goes to the dream behind the deliverables and making it work in the organization, filling the space by leaders who dance together with their colleagues in order to energize them. Leadership nowadays is energy management. You have to manage your own energy to fill the space with your energy. That's the task of leaders. But also to energize the people in your team to capture that full potential. There we are again. To capture the full potential of people. And the news is the potential of human beings is big. There is huge potential in human beings. All of us. No matter what kind of educational background you have, that's the way you are born. That's the way you are created. So leaders can make the best of that energy That's the life energy, the life force of the people in the organization. And how can you do that? We detected that. How can you make that dance happen? And that relates to taking that dance serious. Making relations in the organization work. That there is trust between people. That their relations, the working relations in the organization are genuine, are energized, are working for the organization. How organizations do that? They make through the 3 steps in their leadership, leaders that have the functional deliverables, the relational, and the transformational. And how it's very practical, and I would like to show you this. We call this the energy ladder or the dance ladder of leaders that really make that dance work. So you see, you can have 6 factors that make the difference. You can say that are the differentiators in organizations that empower people and teams in order to achieve the goals and the strategic achievement you want to have in your organization. First of all, you have to pay the people. So that's the pay part. That's the money. That's the transactional part of the labor relations in your organization. The future of leadership is not in that area. That's just the minimum of working relationships. Relationships in organizations based on the leadership that people bring out is more on the right-hand side, the left-hand side of this picture. The best leaders in the whole world do have a promise. Not only a promise for the people in the organization, also not only a promise for the teams in the organization, but they have a promise to the world. They say to the people in the organization, we are not only making it work in this organization, but if we make it work in our organization, we have a promise to the world. We should be there in this world. This world needs us. That's the future of leadership. You see that the organizations that attract the best talent all over the world do have that promise in place. So they do not only offer pay, perks, a right place, and pride to employees, but they also offer a promise for the world. That means the leaders start outside. They bring the world and also the challenges in the world, like poverty, inequality, climate change, whatever, all the problems and grand challenges in the world, they bring something of that into the organization and say, okay, there is something going on in this world needs us, and therefore we are going to work today. If you don't want to work today, well, leave this organization because that's what this organization is going to do. And there is a saying in the literature about this kind of leaders, and that says about leaders and colleagues, you have to love them or leave them, but do not spoil them. So you are in, and if you're not in, and not into that promise of the organization for the world, well, leave the organization because this organization is going to do this for the world. So strong leaders nowadays, we really see that as a trend in leadership, do have in their leadership that promise to the world. They make work big. They make work not only, well, we are doing something that we really like and it's fun and we like it. No, it's the next step that says, well, there is a world. That world is waiting for us. We are created in this world, to be in this world and to be there for the world. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's capture our full potential together, and we need each other for that. And I think that's in the DNA of Calvin, and that's why I'm here. So that's also an answer to the question of Jim. What brings leadership? Calvin has that promise. Not many organizations do have that promise yet. You are, I think, in the forefront of showing the world how you can bring the best out of an organization based on that promise. The difference between purpose and promise, by the way, is purpose, having a purpose is inside out. That means we are an organization, we have a purpose. So we bring our goals to the world. That's the purpose-driven organization. But the next step in leadership is promise-driven organization, and that is saying, well, there is a world outside, that world needs us, and we promise that we do something for this world based on who we are as an organization, and that's our promise. So promise starts outside, brings that outside problems or challenges inside. Purpose is the other way around, it's inside out. To summarize how leaders do that, I made a model, and this model is about relational leadership, and you see all the factors that come in. Leaders can make that distinction between leading on the macro level, leading on the meso level, and leading on the micro level. So it depends on leaders where they start. They can start with their own life, then they start here, the intrinsic motivation to be a leader and to have a good life and therefore to work in an organization and do something for the world. But there are also other leaders, they start outside in and they say, well, I want to do something good, I want to have a good life because doing good, and I start with what's the world waiting for and what I'm going to do for that. And that's the outside in. Then you start in the society. So it depends where you start, but at the end of the day, the future of leadership is about never inside an individual, it's never outside the organization, it's always inside the organization. And inside the organization, the most important things a leader should do, and that's also what we see in organizations that are really doing well, they focus on two parts. First of all, there should be excellence related to products and services. So that are the deliverables. That should be excellent. That's what is done in the organization and by the people in the organization. But next to that, future leaders show also very much attention for excellent lives of the people in the organization. They want to see that people feel well and feel good in the organization. So excellent products and services is a focus point of the future of leadership, but also excellent lives of the employees. Why? That's because happy workers are productive workers. So if you want to have productive workers, if you want to achieve the highest value of the people you have, then first of all you have to let them feel well. So happy workers are productive workers. Feeling well means doing well, not the other way around. So that's a very important insight, I think, from the literature that also should be lectured for the leaders of the future. I hope you can do something with those insights for yourself. I hope you are in the right space, in the right organizations where your full potential is captured. Otherwise, leave that organization and search for another one. Thank you so much. Can I leave the stage? Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you, Leadaway, for that very inspirational message. We now have time for Q&A, about 10 minutes. And Bob is in the back again with the microphone, so if you have a question or a comment, just go ahead and raise your hand, and Leadaway will respond.
Yeah.
What do you think is driving that from the pay, perk, up to promise? In society, what do you think is driving, I guess, desires of employees more that direction? Because I've been into a few of these sessions before, and we talk about old school management, new school. What's driving that? And how do we understand how to make that transition?
Yeah, what we see, the driving force behind that is the well-being of people and also the level of development of the country you are living in. For example, when I'm working in South Africa, they are not really in general, focused on the purpose and the promise. They are happy if they have a job, for example, because their well-being and their welfare, if you want, is on a lower level in general than people in high-level welfare states like Grand Rapids, the Netherlands, etc. So it's the level of society where you are and the developmental stage of your country that drives that. So it a little bit relates to the Maslow pyramid. Maybe you were familiar with that. So the more you have, the more you are thinking about the question, okay, I have everything I need in my life, what's next? People who have everything they need still think that. So this is the next level in well-being. That's how we see it. It's a luxury as people like us. And maybe it's also a duty then. But that's a political statement maybe, but you can see it like that. There are business schools who are lecturing it as a duty. That's a choice.
Do you think there's a generational difference in any of these phenomena?
Yeah. Yeah, Wi-Fi in the most places of the world is for free, so they have to think of different aspects that matter in their lives than money. So they are seeing a lot of opportunities also because of the technological development and the internet and digital transformation. So the next generation is really already going to the purpose and the promise because they see all the opportunities there are, and they see also the problems they maybe can solve. So they in general again think more in that direction. Yeah. We call it Generation Z. Well, you were familiar with that. Yeah.
I was wondering how remote work interplays with this.
Yeah, we did a lot of research on that. Remote work, if I define it as, well, you work from home sometimes and sometimes you go to the office. Working from home is very much related to deliverables. So having your work done, I go back to this, to the deliverables. You can do that from home, on your own, performance-based. So then you are just doing your job. That's the minimum you have to do to be a good employee. However, home or wherever you are, without your team around you and without being your whole self, with body and mind together with your colleagues, you have to be together. So working only from home leads to an organization where deliverables and performance management is a focus point, but that doesn't work for the long term. On the long term, an organization is the best where people also collaborate with each other face to face.
You mentioned a couple times if you don't align with the purpose and promise of an organization, you should probably switch to an organization that is aligned. But switching has some cost to the individual and some cost to the organization, so you don't want people switching every week and too often. So talk to us a little bit about the balance between switching organizations versus staying at an organization and trying to transform or improve the organization you're already part of, either as a leader or as a team member. If I'm unhappy, should I go to another organization right away, or should I try to make the organization I'm part of better?
Well, at the end of the day, it should be mutual benefit. So, and there is free choice. So the employee can make a choice, do I want to stay or do I have to go? And of course that depends on a lot of factors in the individual life. And not all employees find it very important to be happy at work. They are happy to have a job. So they make different decisions, different choices. So I cannot give a general answer to this question because it's very specific for individuals themselves. So as a leader, you should know why people are joining this company. Is that because of the money? Is that because of the perks? Is that because of the people that are working in this organization? Is it because of the place? Is it because of the promise? And as a leader, you should detect that from all people in your team, because if you don't know that, maybe you are giving a pay rise for an employee that is not that interested in that pay rise because that employee is working for that organization because of the purpose or the promise. So you should know, why are those employees joining this company? What's the reason for that? So there the relational aspect comes in again, that you try to understand that reason, the why behind working relationships. And how do you do that? Just ask them the question, why are you back? What brings you here? It's an open question, and the answers to that question matters in terms of leadership. Is that an answer to your question, Leonard? Thank you. Yeah.
Well, and to kind of piggyback off of that, our table, and I know another table, had talked about trust.
Yeah.
And you briefly touched on ethics, and because we're at this great place, this great university, we can talk about faith.
Yeah.
Can you describe at a deeper level how, excuse me, ethics and faith can play into this and how it can help us become better leaders?
Well, we have here a professor of ethics in the room, so I'm not feeling very comfortable to answer this question. But Jason, do you want to answer this question? Maybe we can do it together.
You go first. Or I can hazard an answer if you like.
Yeah, let's try. Yeah.
Good morning, Jason Stansberg. You know, I do see a alignment with the promise piece that Little described for us, and I think that different people are going to respond to different promises. And I was sitting here thinking, well, if I get to ask a question, then I want to ask, you know, the whole corporate social responsibility, ESG thing has become controversial. Not everyone necessarily responds to that. Not everyone really feels a lot of purpose in contributing to some of these societal grand challenge goals. I happen to think they're important myself, but from a leadership standpoint, you want to identify things that resonate. I think that faith also is something that doesn't necessarily resonate with everyone. That said, I think that a winsome presentation of here's who you ultimately are, whether you quite realize it yet or not, right? You are a person with dignity. You are a person who is made to be creative. You are a person who is made for relationship. You are a person who is made to rest and to play as well as to work. And I think that even people who don't necessarily share our Reformed faith in its details often will resonate with ideas like that. And if you can start building from there to talk about, so let's go create something good and beautiful and explain what's good and beautiful about it, that's where I think you can start getting to the promise that Little Way has been telling us about, and build to it in a way that your particular audiences are resonating with. And I hope that in that way also, as you build kind of step by step from who we ultimately are to what it is we're trying to build together, besides carrying us to the promise, it also can be a witness and help people to maybe start thinking of themselves as something more than maybe they had before. So that would be my attempt to integrate faith and promise. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Jason. Yeah, related to that, if I may add, as being a leader, you have to think of that question that I already put on the table is, who do I want to be in the organization? Is that an image of God? Someone that is giving that dignity, but also gives the dignity to other people? So how do you want to be perceived? And how maybe also do you want to be remembered in the organization? That's an ethical question. That's what I mean. Trust for me is something different. Trust is in the air. Do you trust each other? Is there a connection between us because of the deal we have closed together, the appointment we made, the discussion we had? So trust comes and goes in an organization. But being an ethical leader, it's a choice every day, and maybe it's difficult, but at least you can try to be a leader that can be close to who you want to be.
Got time for one more question.
Is there in the back?
Are there any core leadership skills, obviously there's many, but in this day and age that you'd recommend leaders be focusing on developing?
Yeah, I deleted that slide from the slide deck, but I had a slide on that. There are 4 actually, and it's abbreviated by LEAD, so lead. The L is from listening, so you have to have very good listening skills. That's a core competence nowadays of leaders, being able to listen. Second one is energize people. Core competence of leaders. Energize, being that energy in the room, bringing that energy to the organization. The third one is activate. Let people not only be energized, but also activate to do the job, to do what they have to do, and to do what they really want to do for the organization. That's activate. And the D is, what do you think? The D is from? Stands for? Decide. A leader should, at the end of the day, make the tough decisions. That's leadership too. So that are the core competences nowadays that come out from the literature about future leadership. And the good story is this doesn't cost anything. It is all in who you are as a leader. So I hope that helps too. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Nida. Leadaway, thank you for a very inspiring and informative presentation, and thank you for spending the year with us here at Calvin University to help us imagine and envision how we can continue to expand on delivering on our promise, potentially through executive education. So thank you very much. And now I want to turn over the microphone to Jeff Haverdink, who is our Executive Director of Alumni and Family Engagement. Jeff, take it away.
Great, thank you, Jim. Yeah, just a couple of announcements before we leave here today. Great to see everybody here, and thank you for coming out to join us this morning. As the weather has turned and our extended summer has come to an end, we start thinking about January series. So just to put it on your calendar, January 20 through 31, take a look at the website for all of the speakers. But just a couple to note here, CCIB is sponsoring 2 of them this year. Rashma is coming in on the 29th, I believe it is, to talk about women in industry. Some of you have heard Girls That Code. She's a founder of that program, so she's coming here to speak about women in the business world and in leadership. And then Michaela is coming in a day later or 2 to talk about just navigating change from Fuller Seminary, Fuller Foundation. She is going to be talking in the world of constant change, how do we navigate that? So put those 2 on your calendar for sure, but check out the rest of the lineup. Live to Lead, happening on February 14th. Very innovative Valentine's Day gift. If you want to sign up and join us for that, that would be amazing. But Live to Lead coming up in February. Also want to talk about the Calvin Action Projects, right? You've heard of these before, I hope, but this is a phenomenal way for all of us as leaders in business or service industries to really tap into the talent of our current students and their faculty partners. This is a true treasure. I mean, McKinsey's fine, but Calvin Action Projects are amazing, right? So this is a great way for you to get to know current students for networking, also tapping into our faculty who are incredibly brilliant in that work. So a win-win there. We used this CAP project for the Calvin Academy for Lifelong Learning this past year, did some research for us, and did a great presentation to our board. It was really phenomenal. So just want to highlight that. Bob, you're taking names and we'll take ideas. So talk to Bob afterward if you're interested in exploring how that can impact your business. And then the Career Center, great partners of ours. They have a lot of eager students who want to know more about what life will be like after they graduate Calvin. They've got some informational interviews, job shadows. There are a lot of students here who would love to talk with you about your business and understand what opportunities are out there. No commitment, just a great job shadow opportunity. So scan the QR code or come talk to our career service folks. So with that, thank you all for coming today. We'll look forward to doing more of these in the spring, so look for future announcements on that. But just want to thank again CCIB, the Career Center, our office as well for sponsoring these breakfasts, and wish you all blessed Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you at the next one. So thanks a lot.